The year is 2015, and Connor McDavid was just drafted by none other than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Would anything change? Would he have a Stanley Cup already? Would he not become a dominant individual player? So many questions to be had, and we are going to be answering them in NHL 25. No shock at all to see the Toronto Maple Leafs struggle. They actually were a lot better than I thought. 35, 37, and 10. Third last in our division. Only Buffalo and Florida was worse. Man, how have the times changed? A decade later, these guys would be an absolute juggernaut of a team. We got the Montreal Canadiens winning the most games at 54. They won the President's Trophy. The Blackhawks obviously are in the midst of their dynasty right now. They're still very good. The Red Wings won 51 games. Ottawa in the top 4 and Pittsburgh to round out the top 5. I mean, if I have to, I will trade Phil, but I would love to keep him alongside Connor McDavid. 36 goals and 86 points. Imagine McDavid down the middle with him and JVR. They would be absolutely lethal as a trio. For the entire NHL, we got Crosby having the most points at 110, followed by Patty Kane with 107, and Jonathan Toews, who had a career-high 105. On the goal side, Ovi, another 60-goal campaign. He had 61. Patty Kane had 54. Max Pacioretty, dear God, at an 89 overall, going off, scoring 54 goals. Stammer had 46. Mark Stone had 44 at only age 22. Funny enough, the Ottawa Senators are going to dethrone the Chicago Blackhawks in 5 games in the finals. They utterly dominated them, and Chicago does not get that third cup of the 2010s. We got Patrick Kane winning the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy. Art Ross the Sid. We got Ovi taking home the Maurice Richard. Duncan Keith will win the Norris. The Conn Smythe to the best defenseman in the league in Erik Karlsson. We got Ryan Miller winning the Vezina, and for the Selke, it's going to go to Anze Kopitar. The time is here, the 2015 NHL Draft, and we got an 18-year-old Connor McDavid, franchise high potential. We know he's a generational talent, and he is going to the Toronto Maple Leafs, 92 overall at 18 years of age. Moving off of JVR, a second and a third for Columbus's 4th overall pick to potentially get Mikko Rantanen and pair him alongside Connor McDavid. They have totally unwilling and rejected my offer straight off the bat. Jack Eichel would eventually end up going to the Flyers. We got Kaprizov 3rd overall to Winnipeg. Rantanen did go to Columbus 4th. Mitch Marner is now a Dallas Star. Zach Werenski to Calgary. We got Kyle Connor going to Utah, Noah Hannafin to the Preds, Barzell to Buffalo. Ramon Zaho is a Chicago Blackhawk. We got Travis Konechny going to the Rangers, Timo Meier to Seattle, Dylan Strome to the Kings. This guy went 3rd overall, and he fell all the way down to 13th in a redraft. Heading into McDavid's rookie season, he's already a 92 overall. He's going to play alongside some good players, and JVR and Phil Kessel. Kessel being a 90. We got JVR at an 87. We tried to go after Jaromir Jagr in the offseason. Didn't really work out. But Nazem Kadri is only 24 years old. I believe he is locked up long-term, $6 million for 5 more seasons, so he can be a very reliable second-line center. Overall, this roster isn't really that great. We do got a lot of good chemistry along our forward lines, but defensively, Dion Phaneuf is our best defenseman at an 86. I'm going to throw Morgan Riley up there on their top line D pair, as he is only 21 years of age. He's got a ton of room to grow. And then James Reimer as our starting goaltender. Dear God, this was definitely a dark age for Maple Leaf fans. Predictably, yet again, the Leafs were not very good. 37, 39, and 6 was their final record. 80 points on the season. We got the Chicago Blackhawks still going to compete for titles for probably many, many years to come. 60 wins, 16 losses, 6 in overtime. The Pittsburgh Penguins also won 60 games. Calgary was very good. We got Minnesota up here, as well as Montreal and the New York Islanders. Individually, McDavid had a great rookie campaign. 24 goals, 97 points, and a full 82. He was a plus 28 on a pretty poor Maple Leafs team, if we're being honest. He made Phil Kessel a 40-goal scorer, also had 80 points. JVR with 58. Joffrey Lupul had 55, despite the fact that he was a minus 12. Morgan Riley actually had a pretty good season for a 22-year-old. Nazem Kadri, I mean, he definitely needs a little bit of work to do. And between the pipes, James Reimer, 31, 33, and 4 with 1 shutout and a 903 and a very bad hockey team. He's definitely not the goaltender that is going to backstop us towards a Stanley Cup victory. Patrick Kane's going to go off in the sim, 120 points on the season. Ovi had 111, Jonathan Toews had 108, Chris Letang 108, so it actually kind of stayed accurate, as Patrick Kane did end up winning the Art Ross this season. For the goal side, Alexander Ovechkin, man, 77 goals, damn near goal per game. Stamkos had 60. He had a hell of a season as well. Max Pacioretty, back-to-back 50-goal campaigns. We got Patrick Kane with 47. Hossa had 44. Gustav Nyquist 44. And for the rookie skaters, McDavid will have by far and away the most points. He had 97. And for the most goals, That's going to go to Kirill Kaprizov with 29 on the year. I mean, Nail Yakupov. What the hell happened to that guy? He had 27 in his rookie campaign as well. Carey Price will carry the Montreal Canadiens all the way to a Stanley Cup, doing something he could not do in real life. Chicago, back-to-back Cup final losses. Oh, how I know exactly how that feels. Just think about it. The year is 2016, and David Desharnais leads the playoffs in scoring with 26 points. We got Max Pacioretty, who had 24. Jonathan Toews was a unit for Chicago. Patrick Kane was good. Brendan Gallagher was okay. I mean, a lot of these guys, they were not over a point per game because back then, players were just not scoring at the rate that they are now. Kane's going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Ovi's going to win the Maurice Richard. Letang's going to win a Norris. We got David Desharnais, Conn Smythe winner. Corey Crawford will win the Vezina. And Sasha Barkov wins his first Selke in his NHL career. We will end up selecting 9th overall in the 2016 NHL entry draft. We're not getting Tommy Ake Matthews. Instead, though, we might get a player that can help this team bring a Stanley Cup back to this city. Trying to move up in the draft to select Charlie McAvoy is going to be tough. I mean, he's projected to go 4th overall. Winnipeg holds that pick right now. So Riley, a 3rd rounder, and a 5th to the Winnipeg Jets. And it is a done deal, as Toronto kept their 9th overall pick, and now we select 4th and 9th in the first top 10 selections here in the 2016 NHL draft. Let's go ahead. Is Charlie McAvoy still on the board? He is. Now, the interesting thing is, do we take Charlie McAvoy or Matthew Tkachuk? I think since we got rid of Morgan Riley as a defenseman, we got to counteract that, bring another one in. Charlie McAvoy is now a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. With the 9th selection in the NHL entry draft of 2016, Jacob Chychrun, welcome to Toronto. We went back-to-back with defenseman picks, and now we got a top-line D pair of the future of Chicky and Charlie McAvoy. Trying to snag a goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs so we do not run into problems down the road. We're going after Pittsburgh. It might have been a little bit of an overpay, but right now the goaltender that we are going after might be a little bit controversial, but this is way before any goddamn scandal is going on in Hockey Canada. Carter Hart, elite high potential, hybrid goaltender, 17 years of age. There we go, 70 overall, and he is the newest member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Heading now into McDavid's second season, he is bolstered all the way up to a 94 overall. Only 2 overall, so it is a little bit of a slow climb, but he came in as a legit superstar in the NHL. Now, William Nylander, he's developed nicely. He's 20 years of age. 83 will play in that top line with McDavid and Phil the Thrill Kessel. We get JVR alongside Kadri and Carter Verhaeghe, who was in the minors, and I decided to call him up defensively. McAvoy and Phaneuf, our top line D pair. I want to play McAvoy a ton because I want him to grow as quickly as possible. And then Jacob Chychrun can play alongside Jake Gardner. We get an 81 and an 84, and then Shlemenko and Coburn as our final decor. I don't know why Adin Hill slipped through the cracks of Vegas. The real Adin Hill at 30 years of age has now signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs at an 86 overall. Dion Phaneuf is getting stripped of the captaincy. It's obviously going to go to Connor McDavid. He's in his second season. Just like with the Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs have named him captain of the franchise. The Toronto Maple Leafs are still years away from contending in the Eastern Conference. 33 wins, 45 regulation losses, 4 in overtime for only 70 points as we were second last in the Atlantic. We have the Minnesota Wild actually being very good and winning 57 games, 117 points. Chicago obviously is still up there. They lost back-to-back Cup finals. The Boston Bruins, they won 51 games. The Nashville Predators were up there, and the Pittsburgh Penguins will round out the top 5 teams in the National Hockey League. Connor McDavid honestly regressed this season. 23 goals, 88 points. He scored less goals, had less assists and less points, and he was a -6 on a worse Toronto Maple Leaf squad. Phil Kessel took a major regression. JVR wasn't good. Nylander was decent, I guess, for his rookie season. And if we take a look at the goaltender here, Adin Hill, I mean, at an 86 overall, I kind of expected better stats, I'm not going to lie. Patty Kane's going to win the Art Ross for back-to-back seasons, leading all skaters in scoring with 116 points. We got Jonathan Toews with 109. Sidney Crosby had 106. Corey Perry was up there with 95. And if we take a look at the goal side here, Ovi again dominating in that category. He had 51, the lone 50-goal scorer in the entire league this season. The Nashville Predators, just like in 2017 in real life, in the resim, they're going to go to the Cup Finals. They're not going to have to play Crosby and Gino, and they swept in the process. A 4-game sweep over the Carolina Hurricanes. Patty Kane again, he's been dominating the individual awards. Art Ross and Hart Trophy. Ovi's going to win the Maurice Richard. Roman Josi wins the Norris and the Conn Smythe. Tuukka Rask is your Vezina Trophy winner. and Jordan Staal will take home the Selke. Trying to snag the 4th overall pick. We do select 5th, but right now I want to see if I can get maybe a guy like Miro Heiskanen and maybe even Jake Ottinger with back-to-back picks. So I'm giving up Jake Gardiner, a 2029 first rounder and a 28 second rounder, and the Philadelphia Flyers have accepted my offer. Miro Heiskanen is the guy that I want to go after. Elite high potential, two-way defenseman, 79 overall already. And then with our back-to-back pick, I think we got to go not with Nolan Patrick, not with Nico Hischier, but instead a netminder, either Jake Ottinger or Jeremy Swayman. The chat has voted. We are going to select Jake Ottinger from the U.S. Developmental Program to join the Toronto Maple Leafs in forming a super team. Connor McDavid now has grown to a 95 overall at 20 years of age. He's instantly one of the best players in the league. William Nylander grown all the way to an 87. JVR, I might substitute you for Phil Kessel. And then we'll go JVR, Kadri, and Verhaeghe. Komarov alongside Tyler Bozak and Connor Brown. Defensively, our decor pretty much stays the same, as Miro Heiskanen is going to play a year in the minors before he plays with the big boys. And then Hill and Reimer as our goaltending tandem yet again. The Toronto Maple Leafs finally make the playoffs, 40, 35, and 7. 87 points in the season. We are a wild card spot. Probably going to play the 60-win Bruins, which is not going to be good because they ended up being the best team in the NHL. They won the President's Trophy, 127 points. Nashville had 55, Carolina with 54, Washington and Minnesota all had great individual seasons. There must be something fishy going on here. This Connor McDavid is not the Connor McDavid that I know. 29 goals, 71 points. He was a -4. Phil Kessel only had 64. Verhaeghe with 56. Jacob Chikrin actually had a very solid season as a defenseman. Nylander didn't really develop much more. JVR had 47 points. And for our netminder and Aiden Hill, a .905 save percentage, 4 shutouts, and 32 victories. This is going to be Patty Kane's third Art Ross of the video. 116 points, leading the way in the NHL. Jonathan Toews had 112. Radulov with 102 on the Carolina Hurricanes. Jack Eichel also had 102. Vladimir Tarasenko, who was very good, 53 goals. Speaking of goals, Ovi is still dominating that category, 63 tucks on the season. Patrick Kane had 54, Vladdy 53, Stammer producing. I mean, he's in his prime right now at 28. Joe Pavelski had 48, Radulov with 46. Austin Matthews, I mean, this is only his, second season in the NHL, 46 goals, 78 points, but he was a -11 on the New Jersey Devils. As the Toronto Maple Leafs are back in the postseason, that's the good news. The bad news is we got to play the goddamn Boston Bruins in the first round. It's a Game 7 loss on home ice, on the road. It doesn't matter. The story is already written. It turns out we were not even a good enough team to win a single game come playoff time. Dominated in 4 straight outings by the Boston Bruins, swept in the first round, but hey, at least we made the playoffs, right? The Pittsburgh Penguins are going to sweep the Chicago Blackhawks in the Cup Finals. Man, the Blackhawks are the ultimate losers of this video. This is their 3rd Cup Final in the first 4 seasons, and they quite literally have won 0 of them. Individually speaking, I mean, for us, Connor Brown led our team in the playoffs. He had 2 goals and 2 points. McDavid was bad, JVR was bad, Nylander, Kadri, quite literally everybody was straight up trash. As Evgeny Malkin had 14 goals and 31 points, Sid with 29, Brian Rust at 29, Patrick Hornquist 24. Patrick Kane's been a straight up menace so far in this sim. The Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy instead is going to go to Jack Eichel of the Boston Bruins. Ovi's going to win the Maurice Richard. Yossi with another Norris. Gino's going to end up winning the Conn Smythe. Simeon Varlamov is going to win the Vezina, and Anze Kopitar the Selke. Not even going to lie, I'm expecting a very big season out of McDavid. He actually dropped down to a 94 at 21 years of age because he had a very bad season last year. We got Nylander and Kessel on the first line with him. Connor Brown's locked up long term. We got Kadri and Verhaeghe. Pretty solid top 6. And an 85 overall centerman's not too bad as their 3rd line center. Decor is going to be looking lethal in a few seasons. 86 Chicky, 86 McAvoy, and 83 Heiskanen. And then between the pipes, we got Aiden Hill and a young Jake Ottinger. Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs still struggling to make the playoffs. I mean, we somehow made it last season with 85 points. Didn't win a single postseason game. This year, we went 34, 39, and 9, 77 points on the season. As the Pittsburgh Penguins would win the President's Trophy with a record of 56, 21, and 5. I don't know what it is. McDavid just cannot sim well. His career high is 24 goals. He got 86 points. He had more points in his rookie season. Like, it's unexplainable. Nylander had 70. Kessel with only 64, but he did have 40 goals. Connor Brown had a very good season by himself. And for Aiden Hill, he was trash. Ottinger's only 19 years old. I don't really expect a lot out of him, to be honest. The Boston Bruins are going to rewrite history of 2019. Instead of facing St. Louis, it would be the Minnesota Wild, and they dominated them in a gentleman's sweep. It is a Sidney Crosby takeover as he wins the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Ovi the Maurice Richard. Carlson's going to win the Norris. The Conn Smythe is going to go to David Krejci. Ilya Sorokin will end up winning the Vezina Trophy, and for the Selke, it's going to go to Sean Monahan. This team moving forward, honestly, could either be a super team or could be honestly cooked. Forward core is pretty much going to remain the same. We got Tyler Bozak, who actually declined a little bit down to an 83 overall. Kadri hasn't grown from an 86. McDavid's a 95, but Sims like is an 88, 89 overall. We still got Phil and Verhaeghe now on that top line, as William Nylander is not accepting an RFA offer. He's asking for way too much money. On the back end, though, we're really good. Heiskanen, Chikrin, and McAvoy as our top 3 defensemen is not too shabby at all. And then we got an 86 Carter Hart with an 86 Jake Ottinger as our backup. Finally, the Leafs have made the postseason with a respectable record. 47, 32, and 3, 97 points, and honestly, a pretty weak Atlantic division overall. Crosby and the Pens are going to be the best team in the NHL, 56, 19, and 7. Colorado came in second, the Jets third, San Jose fourth, and the Calgary Flames at 5. And take a look at Toronto sneaking into that top 10, baby. Finally, McDavid has arrived as well. 41 goals, 158 points, a career high 117 apples. That is absurd, and yet he was still a -1. Carter Verhaeghe at 86 and 41 goals. We got Phil Kessel kind of declining now. I mean, he is 32 years of age. Connor Brown 74. Chicky was pretty good. Kadri was decent, I guess. We're probably going to end up losing him in the offseason. And for our netminders, they pretty much split the games, and neither of them were really good. We were a great offensive team, but defensively, we could not defend at all. Of course, Connor will go ahead and lead the league in scoring. Nobody even came remotely close. Ryan O'Reilly had 109, and Erik Karlsson, as a defenseman, had 102. On the goal side, Matthews has awoken in New Jersey, 59 tucks on the year. We got Ovi with 56. Stammer's still doing his thing, not getting injured. 52 goals. Mark Stone scored 51, and the legend, the worm himself, with 51 goals on the season. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl's career is going really different now that he does not have his duo and partner in crime in Connor McDavid, but he's still a decent player. 48 goals, 83 points, -21 though. He had 86 last year, 63 the year before. I mean, he's developing pretty nicely, and Edmonton played 11 games in the playoffs literally a few years ago. Now, the last time we were in the playoffs, we got swept by Boston. Luckily, we do not have to play them, and instead, we get the weak New York Islanders. They do have John Tavares. We got to look out for him. He's probably in the mid-90s right now. But overall, I feel like we can finally win a playoff series. The Leafs are an absolute wagon. Up 3-0 over the New York Islanders, trying to win our first playoff series in the Connor McDavid era. First period, 2-0 lead for the Isles. Arvidsson and Tavares. Second period, we are down 3-1, and New York will live to fight another day. Game 5, back at home in Toronto. The building is packed, trying to win our first play. Oh my God, that's the effort we have in the first, down 3-1, second period, a 3-2 deficit, and oh my God, we tie it up heading to overtime. Here we go. Finally, I've been waiting so long to hop in here and actually watch the computers go at it. These are all created players, so they're going to play a little bit differently, I believe, than the actual EA-generated players. Connor McDavid comes in the zone. He's going to lose that puck. Also, everybody does look exactly alike, but he can't go through and make 2,000 different face scans. Yanni Gourde right down the middle. Nice save there, but is that Jake Ottinger? It definitely looks like Otter. He's a big boy in the net there. The New York Islanders, they were up by 1. They blew it in the third period. We are now in overtime, trying to advance to round number 2 of the postseason. The Leafs struggling right now. Over to Charlie McAvoy. He can't get anything on it. Chikrin moves up to Phil. Kessel into the slot. He's going to take a shot. McDavid is in on that puck. Board playing Pulak right now. Get in there, Phil. You got a forecheck, buddy. There's hot dogs in the corner. Oh, my God. Phil, the thrill. Kessel, what are you doing, bud? Nicole, back to Bailey. Bailey, shot. Again, blocked. Rebound. Oh, my God. Nicole, back to Travis Hamonic, trying to get a shot on net. Ottinger, he's got butterfingers right now between the pipes. And the Toronto Maple Leafs going to skate it out. Jacob Chikrin, he's into the zone. Chicky centering it to absolutely nobody right now. Hamonic trying to get out of his own zone. Back to Komarov. Over to below. Brown. Connor Brown trying to bury one. A Connor Brown overtime. Wait a minute. Is Connor Brown wearing Mitch Marner's number? Number 16? Am I like seeing things right now? Connor Brown literally rip off Mitch Marner right now. Brown into the zone. Over. Kadri. Why is Kadri wearing the number 2? The Leafs numbers are all over the place, but luckily we are headed to the power play. Gabriel Landeskog leading the playoffs in scoring with 9 points. McDavid has 7, where we got a massive power play here. We're in overtime. We can end this series. We can move on to round number 2. This could be a big one. Back to the point. Heiskanen over, shot, blocked by Byron. Oh my God, Paul Byron with a beautiful block, but McDavid, he's back in the zone. He's trying to sauce it in the middle. McDavid rips a shot, but I think he got a piece on that. It is none other than the Vancouver legend himself, Eddie Lack, between the pipes for the New York Islanders. I can't believe it. The nostalgia in this video goes absolutely hard. Halfway through this overtime, still in the power play, and we had full pressure. Nobody went to the puck. We got Yanni Gourde going between the legs in the neutral zone. What is going on, Toronto, right now? Casey Cizikas takes a shot. Nice save by Otter. It's got to be your puck, McDavid. McDavid moves up to below. Below, coming in the zone. We get a 2-on-1. Over. Kessel. Shot. Oh, my God. That's a brutal shot, man. 9:35 left to go here on the power play. Connor McDavid. No energy, but he will bury it. His second of the playoff run will send the Leafs to round number 2 as they finally, in the Connor McDavid era, they win a playoff series. Unfortunately, all paths pretty much go through Boston, so we got to get over our demons here in round number 2. I like the fact that we actually got a playoff series underneath our belt, but we lost 7-2 in the first game. We're down 2-0. That is now 6 consecutive playoff losses to the Boston Bruins as we lose game 4 and now on the verge of being swept by the Boston Bruins yet again. 8 straight losses. McDavid, he played good. I mean, 3 goals, 11 apples for 14 points in 9 games. Definitely was our best player. I mean, he's 23 years of age. He should be that come playoff time. Verhaeghe was pretty good. We got Milan Michalek being okay. Phil Kessel, I mean, he's probably on his way out the next few seasons, although he does have a modified no-trade clause. And in goal, Jake Ottinger, he was good, man. A 9-10 save percentage is not bad at all. We got absolutely pelted in shots, though. A 303 GAA. The Seattle Kraken will go all the way, dominate the Boston Bruins in 5 games in the Cup Finals, as that could have been us in the Stanley Cup Finals. Probably not winning it, albeit, but again, we get by Boston. You don't know what could happen. David's going to win his first ever Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. We got Matthews winning the Maurice Richard. Chris Letang wins another Norris Trophy. Jason Robertson, the Conn Smythe. Bob will win the Vezina, and for the Selke, it will go to Anze Kopitar. We're going to run full time with Jake Ottinger as our starter now, so Carter Hart has to go. We also threw in Oleksiak just to make the money work, and there we go. I'm happy to accept this proposal on the behalf of the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is definitely the best forward core of the entire McDavid era thus far. Nylander, McDavid, and Verhaeghe, 90, 90, 96. Then we got Kessel alongside Kadri and Keller, and then Tyler Bozak, who's actually back up to an 84. We got Connor Brown as a third-line right winger at an 88 overall. Defensively, we don't really fit defensively. Like, a lot of these guys don't really like playing together, which is honestly kind of crazy. We might have to move off some of them, but we do got overall great defenders. Brent Seabrook, hold up a minute. We signed a 35-year-old Brent Seabrook to a 6.2 no movement clause deal, and then between the pipes, it is going to be none other than an 89 overall Jake Ottinger, and James Reimer is still our backup. We were actually struggling early on in the season. We were like 29-20, but now for somehow, some way, maybe it's because our division is very weak, but 42, 28-12, 96 points will be at the top of the Atlantic Division. Philly had a great season. They won 51 games. San Jose was up there. St. Louis, who is still kind of looking for their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Obviously, we're not even going to be remotely close to the top this season, as we were, what, the 13th best team in the entire NHL. 12 overtime losses definitely helped us out making the playoffs and leading our division, because we only had 42 regulation wins. McDavid's going to go back-to-back, dominating 41 goals, 143 points. Deadass carrying the squad. Nobody else even had over 71 points, and McDavid had 143. Verhaeghe had 38 goals, though. Connor Brown had 34. Dear God, as a third liner, that's kind of crazy. Phil Kessel, 30. Nylander didn't do great. Clayton Keller honestly was more so a second assist merchant. And between the pipes, Jake Ottinger was good. A 914 save percentage, 6 shutouts, and 37-22-10 record. And now he's a 90 overall at only 22 years of age. McDavid led the league in scoring, 143 points. And in the goal side, Mark Stone has been a killer in this sim, dude. Take a look at his goal numbers throughout the entirety. 44, 43, 34, 42, 53, 51, and now 57. Back-to-back-to-back 50-goal years for no none other than Mark my spleen stone, or LTIR stone, one of the two. We're going to face the Washington Capitals in the very first round. We actually played them in real life in the 17 playoffs. Obviously, way different teams this time around. They still have Ovi, if I believe I'm right. So McDavid versus Ovechkin in the very first round of the postseason. Down 3-2 to the Caps in the first round. Definitely was not how I saw things coming out or shaking out. We made our bed. We got a lay in it. First period, 1-0 lead for Toronto. Carter Verhaeghe gets us on the board on Braden Holtby. Second period, and the Capitals will respond. Kuznetsov, Eric Stahl, and Shane Gostisbehere. Down 3-1 on the road in Washington with their season on the line. 4-1 as Eric Stahl will put the game out of reach, and the Leafs yet again are a first round exit. Oh my god, the curse is real, dude. You cannot tell me that the curse of Toronto is not a real thing. Well, the fact that Jacob Chychrun was our best player in the first round, you're not going very far if he's going to be your best player. Kessel had 7 points, McDavid also had 7, but only 1 goal, and he was a -12. What is going on, McDavo? And for Jake Ottinger, I mean, he wasn't very good either. Only an .899 save percentage and a .360 GAA. On the bright side, we did end up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Washington Capitals as they defeated the Colorado Avalanche in 6 games in the finals. Little bit tweak here and there. Maybe we can be a cup contender, but time is running out. The year is 2021 and the Edmonton Oilers are still winning draft lotteries. That is what would happen if McDavid did not end up going there way back in 2015. I seriously am starting to be very confused at the fact why this team is not having more success. I think our forward core is very, very good, and a 96 overall Connor McDavid who puts up like 140 points per season should be good enough to make you go farther than the first or second round. Defensively, like, we got young guys that don't mesh well together, but they're decent overall, and they're all very young, like a 91, 89, and 88 Heiskanen, Chicky, and McAvoy. The rest of our decor isn't even that bad, to be honest, and in goal, we have a legit elite goaltender in Jake Ottinger at a 91. The Leafs had a very steady season, 45, 29, and 8, 98 points. Honestly thought we were going to be the best team in our division, but the Boston Bruins would eventually take that over, as they only had 2 more points than us. Not that big of a deal. The Philadelphia Flyers in the year 2022 are the best team in hockey. 52 wins, 23 losses, and 7 in overtime. McDavid, he's had 3 consecutive dominant seasons, 46 goals, 130 points, only a +3 though. Phil Kessel had 37 goals. Clayton Keller was decent. Nylander, I feel like we're paying him a little bit too much money. He's getting paid $9.4 to only put up 67 points on the season. Carter Verhaeghe's kind of falling off at this point. We got Jacob Chychrun at 54 points, and for our netminder, Jake Ottinger had a .912 save percentage, 4 shutouts, and 36 wins. You know what? I'm feeling pretty confident. The Buffalo Sabres, round number 1, a team that's been absolute shit for the last 13 years. Maybe they're good in this universe, but in real life, they're utterly trash. I think we can take them in a best-of-7 series. The playoff woes for Toronto are continuing. We are down 3-0 yet again for literally the 3rd time in the McDavid era, as our backs are against the wall, season on the line. First period, 1-0 lead. There we go. Carter Verhaeghe. Second period, Brent Seabrook makes it 3-0, and there we go. The Leafs will not be swept. Back on home ice for game 5, trying to force a game 6 here. 1-1 tie after 1. Second period, the Sabres, Gurianov and Chris Kreider on Jake Ottinger make it a 3-1 affair. And it is looking like another first round exit for this McDavid-led Maple Leafs. This is not good, man. Not much is changing with McDavid instead of Matthews. We have been a playoff exit every single year. We won 1 playoff series in the McDavid era thus far, as the Buffalo Sabres are going to dominate us in a gentleman sweep. Again, McDavid not playing up to par, not winning playoff series. This era in Toronto is definitely going down the drain as we speak. 5 points in 5 games, and a -3 is just, frankly, just not good enough. As we have to sit here and watch the President Trophy winning Philadelphia Flyers go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. McDavid, for back-to-back seasons, is going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. We got Matthews again winning the Maurice Richard. Quinn Hughes is going to win his first ever Norris in his career. Kucherov is the Conn Smythe winner. We got Matt Murray winning a Vezina, and the Selke to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Probably the best team of the Connor McDavid era. I'm expecting a deep playoff run. Otherwise, we are absolutely cooked. Our backs are against the wall. Nylander's grown to a 91. McDavid has really plateaued at a 96. We pick up Jake Virtanen, and that is the guy we signed in the offseason to now have a lethal third line of Brown, Smith, and Virtanen. Defensively, I mean, chemistry-wise, they don't really work, but they're a high overall, 91, 89, and 88. And then Jake Ottinger in between the pipes at a 92 overall. And we got the flower, Marc-Andre Fleury, completely washed at 37, but he's here for the good vibes, and he's here to be the backup goaltender. This has got to be the most disappointing hockey team I've ever seen in NHL 25. We are 18, 25, and 4. Talk about driving an 18-wheeler off the cliff. The Toronto Maple Leafs have missed the playoffs. 33, 41, and 8, 74 points on the season. An absolutely horrific year. I mean, this is what you get for going ahead and signing Jake Virtanen. The locker room cancer pretty much doomed us from the beginning, as McDavid had 38 goals, 136 points. We got Nylander with 70. I mean, nobody else is a point-per-game player on this squad. And we signed Jake Virtanen. Let's take a look at his contract here. $8.2 million for 5 full seasons for 6 goals and 41 points. As Jake Ottinger had a pretty rough season, an .891 save percentage, only 1 shutout, and only 24 victories. The Winnipeg Jets would end up sweeping the New Jersey Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2023, and of course, our resim. Things have been a whole lot different, and as you can see, the poverty of the NHL, or of Canadian teams at least, the Winnipeg Jets will go all the way and win Lord Stanley. Connor, again, another season of winning the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. We got Leon winning the Maurice Richard, Pietrangelo win the Norris. We got Nikolai Ehlers, Conn Smythe winner. Philip Grubauer wins the Vezina, and for the Selke, that is going to go to Sean Monahan. I honestly don't know if we're ever going to have real success here in Toronto. We got McDavid at a 96, Nylander, Verhaeghe still in the 90 overall range. Kessel is still good despite his age, is an 87. Our center depth is not very good, although we probably could throw Clayton Keller down the middle and maybe move up Jake Virtanen into our top 6. You know what? Actually, Connor Brown. Connor Brown scored like 30 goals like a season or two ago, so he's going to be your second line winger. Defensively, same exact decor. McAvoy, Chicky, and Heiskanen are all very, very good, and Jake Ottinger now has dropped down to an 89 overall. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in the shit bin now. Holy hell, 34, 36, and 12, only 80 points in the season. It looks like our division got a whole lot better as the Bruins damn near won 60 games. They also did go ahead and win the President's Trophy, so the Boston Bruins might end up winning the Stanley Cup in the year 2024. Despite McDavid carrying the squad, 132 points, nobody even had more than 64. Let that sink in for a minute. This offense is literally non-existent outside of Connor McDavid, and Jake Ottinger's kind of regressed. He's an 89, probably going to go down to an 88 heading into next season. We might be cooked. McDavid went ahead. He led the league in scoring, 132 on the goal side. It will be Matthews who had 62. Just as I predicted, the Bruins, they went all the way, beat St. Louis in 6 games in the finals, and they go on and win another Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. McDavid still dominating the Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews again with another Maurice Richard. We got Makar winning the Norris. Jack Eichel is your Conn Smythe winner. John Gibson is going to steal the Vezina, and for the Selke, it's going to go to Sasha Barkov from the St. Louis Blues. Like, you look at this roster and you think, hey, this is definitely a playoff team, maybe even a Stanley Cup contender, but no, we can't even make the postseason with this forward core. And even with 3 great elite defensemen at an 88, 90, and 91, we still struggle to keep the puck out of the net, and we have a 91 overall goaltender. Overall, it just does not make sense, but we got one more season to bring a Stanley Cup to the city of Toronto with Connor McDavid. We actually at some point were contending for first in our division, but we definitely fell off nearing the end, 42, 35, and 5, only 89 points on the year as we were 3rd in the Atlantic as the Edmonton Oilers won the President's Trophy. 51, 24, and 7 record with 109 points. McDavid has been hard carrying this team for far too long. Another 130 point plus campaign. Jake Virtanen, what can I say about the guy now? I can't be hating. 26 goals, 93 points. Keller had 73. Wow, Clayton Keller has been a miss of a trade asset. Nylander didn't really develop to be pretty much anything to do to scoring like 14, 15 goals this season. And for Jake Ottinger, he only had a 906, which is not horrible. 2 shutouts is meh, and 34 victories. McDavid again will lead the league in scoring, this time with 133 points, and Troy Terry will have the most goals at 63. A first-round matchup up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We got to go to war. Probably going to be a 7-game series, but I'm praying that this is our final playoff run of the video. Can we at least make the Stanley Cup Finals? Got to be honest, there is really no way around it. The Maple Leafs are cursed. They are frauds. We're down 3-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. It looks like we're only going to have one playoff series win win in the McDavid era. Down 2-0 after the first period. We actually take the lead in the second. Brown, Below, and Kessel. And then in the third, in typical Toronto Maple Leaf fashion, we give up 2 third-period goals and yet again get eliminated in round number 1. I don't think you can say Connor McDavid is the problem, but he's really not been the solution either. 3 goals, 8 points, and a -2 in 5 games in the postseason. McDavid's been dominant individually. The Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy again. Hughes will win the Norris. We got Elias Pettersson taking home the Conn Smythe. Linus Ullmark the Vezina. And for the Selke, it will be Sean Conturier. Well, that is going to do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.